But the project itself came from, actually it was from you, Helen. You managed to reduce it into these beautifully simple terms. You know, that if anyone who's been living in this city for the last decade or two can't help notice that, one, there's a housing crisis that is getting worse and worse and worse every single day. But at the same time, look into the skylines, and the skylines of the city are full of these cranes hoisting these new buildings into being. So it's a simple question, but actually quite a complex question, which is why is it, despite all this development that we've seen in the city, why is it that the housing crisis keeps getting worse and worse and worse? We can't afford on any level to keep building these developments that no one wants and no one needs, and are simply there to make someone on the other side of the world money.
It's because these forces of financialisation, of like global finance kind of taking over our housing and our homes, that's going on across the world, isn't it?
Knowledge is power, right? Points of intervention. What can we now do with this knowledge to change things?
But I think it also looks at ownership in a wider sense, right? So those decisions that are being made about something that's so fundamental to our lives, the homes that we live in, they shape everything. Those decisions, where are they being made? Who are they for? And is there a way we can be involved in them? Because that aspect of the city and who it's for and who can shape it and who can form it is so relevant. So I think it's that interesting thing, isn't it, where it's both about ownership, which a lot of people are interested in, right? Who actually owns those buildings, but it's also really about the sense to which we can actively participate in the decisions about the city and our lives that so drastically affect us, and how we can do that as a collective movement.
One of my favourite moments in the workshop was when one of the participants decided to answer the rhetorical question that our project's titled. Our project is Who Owns Brighton? Yeah. And she came back and goes, it's really simple. We own Brighton. Mm-hmm. And we do own Brighton. This is our city. It is accountable to us in all sorts of different ways. And we need to make that a reality. We need to be able to exercise the ownership that we already have, to remind the city, the powers that be, that we do own the city and it's our city. We've got this awful housing crisis around us, but it's clear that someone is making money out of this. So what we did in the money workshop is we thought about how companies and developers are structured, and we looked at some of the tools that we've got online to understand how we can try and unpick these mess of shell company after shell company after shell company and actually find out who is taking the money from our city. And it's time that we started to understand this process and hold it to account.
Nice. This project matters because our homes and our cities, exactly that, should serve our needs, the needs of the people, the everyday people who live in them and who work and love and play and dream in them, and everybody should have the right to the home. And what our homes shouldn't serve is the needs of landlords, of developers, of investors, of global finance.
Our community researchers have come from all walks of life. Yeah. And as this group has really bonded together, what we've worked out is we've got this group of 30, 40 people. In a city as small as Brighton, 30 people can be amazingly powerful.
Just themselves take the initiative and put in the time and go there on their Saturdays, give up their evenings, because obviously it's really important to them. And I think for me that's been something else, a really kind of unexpected, fantastic.
It's very easy to feel overwhelmed and depressed, by the whole situation. But that's where coming together with these other people and doing it as a group, it gives you that feeling of empowerment and that, we might actually be able to do something here rather than just sitting back and feeling completely despondent about the whole thing.
Yeah. I like how kind of open-ended it is so far, that we're kind of thinking as we're going along and we're not really sure what the kind of outcome will be. And I think I'm really excited to kind of see where it goes and where it ends up.
Housing is a human right, and alongside public services, all of this stuff is being taken from public hands, public money into private profit, and our rights are getting absolutely infringed on every day as we speak. And I think it's time that we try to slow this down, put a stop to it, and there needs to be a national housing movement.
And then when I saw this being advertised with that, who owns Brighton, it felt, well, it's the kind of same sort of question. And I was really interested and motivated by and meeting other people who are maybe thinking the same things as me and asking the same questions, and then thinking, well, actually, if I'm interested in it, it makes me cross, then maybe there's something to be done. And I suppose what I'm hoping to get out of this is to understand, well, what could be done, what part can I play?
Bring things in. It doesn't reinvest, it doesn't bring things in, it just takes everything out.
When we pitched the house, it's clear that people organising it on the coming together with people with similar kinds of energy.
Yeah, and how we're going to how that spreads out, but also builds to create change.
We were really anxious about it at the beginning, when you're doing something like this. Are the community going to engage? Are they going to do it? And we had our launch, and 200 people got tickets for the launch, which was unbelievable.
Yeah. I remember saying, I'm going to be happy if we get 20
people turning up.
That'll be all right.
And we got hundreds, but